For 400,000 years, humans could control fire, but not create it on demand. One spark of friction could take hours. Then, almost overnight, a tiny stick changed everything. Before matches existed, starting a fire was one of the most difficult, time-consuming tasks in daily human life. People relied on friction methods like fire drills, or striking flint against steel to create sparks that could catch dry tinder. Even skilled fire starters could take several minutes, sometimes much longer, especially in damp conditions. For most of human history, keeping an existing fire burning was often easier than starting a new one from scratch. Ancient China gives us the earliest known precursor to the match. Historical records from the 6th century describe small sticks of pinewood coated in sulfur, used by desperate households during wartime emergencies when they had no burning embers left and needed to quickly transfer flame from a neighbor. These early sulfur sticks couldn't ignite on their own through friction, but they made transferring an existing flame dramatically faster and easier than before. For over 1,000 years after that, no significant advancement occurred. Fire-starting technology remained essentially unchanged across most of the world well into the 1600s and 1700s, still relying primarily on flint, steel, and patience. Chemists during this period experimented with various combustible mixtures, but nothing produced a reliable, safe, self-igniting flame that ordinary people could use in their own homes. The real breakthrough arrived by accident in 1826, when English chemist John Walker was mixing chemicals in his lab and noticed a dried clump on the end of his stirring stick. When he scraped it against his hearth to clean it off, it burst into flame. Walker had accidentally created the first friction match, though he reportedly never patented his invention, missing out entirely on what would become one of history's most valuable everyday inventions. Walker's early matches worked, but they were dangerously unpredictable, prone to throwing off sparks and burning fragments unexpectedly. Throughout the 1830s, chemists across Europe raced to improve the formula, and many turned to white phosphorus, a highly flammable substance that ignited easily with just friction. These phosphorus matches caught on rapidly across Europe and America, becoming the dominant match type for the next several decades. But white phosphorus came with a horrifying hidden cost. Workers in match factories, most of them young women and children, breathed in toxic phosphorus fumes daily, and many developed a horrific condition called Phossy Jaw, where the jawbone literally began rotting and glowing faintly in the dark. Some workers required disfiguring surgery to remove parts of their jaw entirely, while others died from phosphorus poisoning. For decades, this was simply accepted as the cost of cheap, convenient fire. Public outrage over Phossy Jaw eventually forced change. In 1888, London match factory workers, mostly teenage girls, staged the famous Matchgirls Strike, publicly exposing the brutal conditions and health devastation caused by white phosphorus. Their strike drew national attention and is widely credited by historians as one of the first major labor victories in modern British history, helping pave the way toward greater worker protections. Following mounting public pressure and growing evidence of phosphorus's devastating health effects, countries began banning white phosphorus matches entirely. The 1906 Berne Convention led numerous nations to prohibit its use, pushing manufacturers towards safer alternatives like red phosphorus, which was far less toxic but required a specially treated striking surface rather than igniting from any random friction, giving rise to the safety match still used today. The safety match design, developed and refined throughout the late 1800s, split the combustible ingredients between the matchstick head and a separate striking strip, meaning the match could only ignite when struck against that specific surface. This single design change eliminated most of the danger associated with earlier matches, while also making them significantly safer to manufacture, store, and transport in bulk. From ancient Chinese sulfur sticks used only to transfer existing flame, to an accidental lab discovery, to a toxic industry that disfigured thousands of workers, to teenage girls striking for their own survival, the humble match carries a far darker history than its tiny size suggests. Something as simple as lighting a candle once required entire industries built on human suffering to perfect. The next time you strike a match, remember what it took to make that single spark safe.